2020 has definitely been an interesting year.
2020 has been intense, to say the least.
My 2020 was not what I expected.
2020 is terrible. Definitely a crazy year.
A year like no other, or at least we hope so. For many of us, it started out simply enough.
I started online private school at the beginning of the year to better my knowledge and further my education, where I plan to go to Auburn after I graduate and major in biology to pursue a career in the medical field.
Had the opportunity to travel to Hilton Head in January and hang out with my cousin Marcy and my gal pals there for Chitlins and Champagne extravaganza.
The Georgia Budget and Policy Institute had a highly successful annual policy conference headlined by Nicole Hannah-Jones.
So when you leave today, go home, look yourselves in the mirror, and ask yourself, what side are you on?
Charles continued his campaign against the causes of excessive maternal mortality. The nation's oldest African-American Greek letter organization celebrated 100 years of excellence in Atlanta. In the middle of the winter, we were able to get away to partake of the warmth, history, and culture of one of the nation's oldest cities.
Trey and I made a trip down to Puerto Rico and had an extended, fun-filled weekend there, seeing the sights and enjoying Old Town.
And then came the plague.
Well, we did all that just in time because I came back to be hospitalized. And my doctors now believe I may have been one of the early COVID cases because my symptoms were more in line with COVID-19 than they were with what the diagnosis was at the time. But speaking of COVID-19, how all our lives have changed. What have become staples in our household? Our hand sanitizer, our gloves when we go out, and our N95 mask. Needless to say, extra precaution, my wonderful face shield.
COVID has definitely gotten the best of a lot of us. It has definitely changed school a lot for a lot of us. Changed senior year. Honestly, it's ruined senior year.
I was fortunate to work in an environment where science is respected and where some of the nation's best scientific minds are assembled. We're also fortunate to spend much of our time in a bubble that is largely shielded from the madness beyond.
We love our neighborhood, and it's really helped us to kind of get through this COVID-19 craziness.
So if you're going to experience a national emergency, what you hope for is steady, competent leadership. Instead, what we had was, at best, erratic.
This year, I stopped playing basketball due to tearing my labrum. I had to have a shoulder surgery. So I would not continue playing basketball.
Prior to 2020, when you heard the word Zoom, it was considered to be the speed of something going extremely fast. Now our lives are Zoom consumed because most of us are doing our meetings and things remotely. I do my Fort Mac board meetings via Zoom these days. I do my AARP work via Zoom these days. We have Zoom family meetings. I have Zoom class meetings since we're coming up on our reunion. It will actually be my 45th reunion from Spelman next year, which I am looking forward to. Speaking of anniversaries, this year also marked the 12th year of my MS diagnosis, and I had my 100th dose of Tysabri, which is the treatment that they've had me on for about 5 or 6 years now.
There were a number of individuals who were taken from us this year all too soon, and we pause to say the names of only a few. Shirley Bonner Road.
I had to make a trip to Detroit in September because my mother fell ill and we lost her within days of my arriving up there. But she lived a wonderful life, all 88 years of it, and fortunately it was at a time that my brother, my sister, and I could all be at her bedside when she took her last breath.
Marguerite Marie Johnson. Marguerite was an extremely talented foundation executive who spent her last years as a devoted caregiver for her parents. John Lewis. I don't know if I would have spent most of my adult life in the American South were it not for the fact that when I was a student, John Lewis invited me to be his guest for the 1967 convention of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in Atlanta. So my introduction to the South was through getting acquainted with several of the individuals who were in the forefront of the movement for social change in the South and in the nation as a whole. Joseph Lowry, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Joyce Gaston Dent, Clemmy Hatchett, C.T. Vivian.
You can turn your back on me, but you cannot turn your back upon the idea of justice.
Louis Delsart. And then there were people we lost in the pandemic, like Judson Eneas, like DeLuther and Lois King. DeLuther King, one of the founders of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia, had a distinguished career in the practice of medicine at the VA hospital in Tuskegee and later in Atlanta, before retiring and moving with his wife into an assisted living facility, not knowing that the move would make them particularly vulnerable.
This year, I have learned that you should live your life. Life is too short not to do what's best for you.
This year also saw some good news and some signs of hope for the future. Cell phone camera images revealed the desperate conditions suffered by many whose circumstances were formerly too easy to ignore. And so, for the first time in a number of years, many people with means began looking for ways to support the cause of social justice. And so, Tuskegee University received the largest gift in its history. After announcing the formation of the Open Society University Network, Bard College prepared to announce additional transformational developments. And the people of Georgia came out to vote in record numbers.
We're getting ready for a big shift.
And whether we will return to stability anytime soon is anyone's guess.
This year has brought many struggles over the year, but I think I've grown as a person.
It seems like we've been here for 5 years, and I'm thankful that we're moving forward with the next chapter of our lives.
I am looking forward to leaving behind COVID. I am hopefully going to go into aviation maintenance in 2021, hopefully at Middle Georgia.
I can't wait for 2020 to be over so I can get on to 2021.
The toast to 2021, and may COVID be done.
Hope everybody stays safe and feels those wonderful vibes and feels that energy and that shift and the connection. Family, I love you guys. Hope to see you soon.
Happy New